It is no coincidence. This book did not reach you by mistake. This message did not appear by chance. You are not here by accident. You are here because your mind has finally crossed the threshold where mediocrity is left behind, and the conscious creation of unlimited wealth begins. And do you know why? Because the universe does not deliver power to those who are not prepared to wield it. This knowledge is only revealed when you are ready to use it. And here is the truth. Money is not pursued, it is attracted. And this book, this message, is the key to becoming a living magnet for opportunities, wealth, and success. Today you will not hear empty motivational phrases. Today you will hear a formula that has forged empires from silence, from the mind, from absolute conviction. Because this book, hidden in plain sight for generations, is not just any manual. It is a map, a code, a secret revealed only when the student is ready. And if you are seeing this, it is because you are already ready. Ready to leave excuses behind, ready to reprogram your mind with the eternal principles of wealth, and ready to create unlimited fortune, not from blind effort, but from total clarity of purpose, vision, and unstoppable action. Subscribe now and comment, "I am ready for my fortune," if you feel this message is touching something deep within you, because from today, nothing will be the same. Chapter 1. The Awakened Mind, the Point of No Return. A mind that has been expanded by a new idea will never return to its original size, and you can no longer go back. Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. This is not an inspirational phrase. It is a law, a universal formula that connects thought with material creation. The vast majority live without knowing it. You are here because your consciousness has crossed an invisible threshold. You now know your thoughts have weight, direction, and consequence. It doesn't matter how many times you have failed, doubted, or suffered. What matters is that you now hold in your hands the universe's greatest resource, an awakened mind, willing to obey your commands, and you issue them with absolute conviction. And it all begins with a spark, burning desire. The starting point of all achievement is desire, not a weak desire, not a superficial intention. We are talking about a creative obsession, a mental image so powerful it tears through any internal resistance. Desire is the fire that melts the chains of doubt. It is that longing that makes you vibrate when imagining a full, free life without financial or mental limits. Most people believe desire is dangerous, that you must be realistic, that ambition is bad, but that deception is precisely what keeps them trapped. Authentic desire, born from the soul and transformed into vision, is the first brick of every great fortune. And this book, this guide hidden among pages, teaches you exactly how to take that desire and turn it into gold. Now listen closely. It is not enough to desire, you must believe. And for belief to work as a creative force, it must be instilled again and again, like the hammer striking hot iron. Faith is the chemist that, when mixed with the vibration of thought, becomes the agent of communication between the human mind and infinite intelligence. This is not religion. It is mental science, metaphysics applied to concrete action. Every thought of yours vibrates at a frequency, and that frequency emits a call to the universe. When you do it with faith, the universe responds with mathematical precision. And how is that faith generated? Through repetition, through self-programming, through the constant declaration of your vision, until there is no room left for fear. You do not wait for success. You decide it, decree it, act it, feel it before you see it. That is where true transformation begins. When you stop looking to the world to validate your dreams and begin to act as if they were already real. Act as if you were already rich, because every second you think from scarcity, you are creating more scarcity. Every time you talk about problems, you are sowing more problems. Every thought counts, every word vibrates, every emotion shapes. You are not a victim of reality, you are its architect. This first chapter is an awakening, a reminder that your thoughts are not weak. They are orders, they are blueprints. And if today you decide to write a new blueprint, your entire world will reconfigure itself. So today, write your desire in detail with passion. Read it aloud twice a day. Look at it as if it were already fulfilled. Feel what you would feel if you were already living in that abundance, because that habit, small, repeated, powerful, is what separates eternal dreamers from conscious creators. You are not here by chance. You are here because your soul asked for expansion, and the map is being handed to you. And this is only the beginning. Chapter 2: The Hidden Language of Money. Speak its language or it will move away. Money does not respond to effort. It responds to the energy that summons it. And that energy, although unseen, is felt, emitted, trained. Wealth begins in the form of thought, not in the bank, not in the job, not in luck. The root of fortune is not in what you do, but in how you think while you do it. If your pockets are empty today, it is not money that is missing. It is the mental code that calls it. Money is not conquered. It is attracted and only responds to minds that have learned its invisible language. What is that language? It is organized thoughts backed by powerful emotions, repeated with unshakable faith. It is not chance, not coincidence. It is a formula. Thoughts, when mixed with definite purpose, persistence, and burning desire, form a magnetic force that attracts its equivalent. Money has no will, you do. Money does not decide where to go. You decide if you make it come. And let's be clear, we are not talking about passive magic. We are talking about total alignment between what you think, what you feel, and what you do. When you think wealth, feel confidence, and act with determination, money cannot resist. It is like a compass turning toward the strongest magnet, and that magnet is you. But here comes the fatal error that 97% make. They think wealth while feeling fear. They act with desire but accompanied by doubt. And the universe does not respond to your words. It responds to your vibration. Do you want money to seek you out? Then speak its language. And that language is called congruence. Congruence between your vision, your attitude, and your daily decisions. You have a big dream. Act like someone who is already living it. Not from arrogance, but from certainty. Faith is a state of mind that may be induced by autosuggestion. This means you don't need to wait to believe. To begin, you can train that faith as repetition, reprogramming, visualization, and daily action, even if you don't see immediate results. Remember, material results are the final stage. First you think, then you vibrate, then you act, and finally you receive. But if you don't master the first three, the fourth never arrives. Think about this. Would you speak Japanese to someone who only understands German? Then why do you speak scarcity when what you want is wealth? Money only responds to the language of expansion, not the language of lack. Start today with this practice. Every time you talk about money, do so as if it were your best ally, as if it had already told you, "I'm on my way." Repeat in your mind affirmations charged with power, not from desperation but from conviction. Examples: money seeks me because I am already ready. My ideas are valuable and the world pays me for them. I am aligned with the frequency of prosperity. And then act. Launch that idea, charge what you deserve, learn what you lack, make space for money to arrive, because if you don't give it a channel, it will find another path. Remember this strongly. Money is a consequence, not a cause, and consequences obey internal mental patterns, not external conditions. You are awakening, and that makes you part of the 1% who no longer ask the world for permission to prosper, because now you understand that your world is created by you. This book appears just when you stop asking yourself, "How do I get out of this situation?" and begin to declare, "I will create the situation I desire." Chapter 3: What you desire already exists, but only shows itself when you become the one who can sustain it. The problem is not that you don't have what you desire. The problem is that you are not yet the one who can sustain it without losing it. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe can be achieved. But the key lies in that forgotten word, believe. It is not about superficial desire. It is not about repeating empty phrases. It is about becoming the person whose reality is designed to live what you so long for. And that implies transformation. Many want wealth. Few are willing to evolve until they are compatible with it. Because the universe does not give you what you desire, it gives you what you can maintain. And if you don't expand first from within, any fortune that arrives will leave as quickly as it came. Success requires a definite purpose, sustained by a burning desire and backed by unshakable faith. Do you have that purpose? Can you see it with your eyes closed? Can you feel it before having it? Because if you can't see it, if you can't feel it, if you don't believe it, you are not ready yet. And money is not a prize, it is a response. Here is the great secret no one told you. It is not about working harder, but about thinking more clearly. It is not about running towards success, but about removing the mental layers that are currently blocking you. True wealth does not appear when you strive to the limit. It appears when your mind becomes fertile ground that no longer sabotages your abundance. And how is that achieved? By redefining who you believe you are. If you believe you are a limited person, money will respect you and stay away. Act every day from your new identity. Don't wait for results to act like a prosperous person. Act like a prosperous person, and the results will come to catch up with you. By developing a vision so clear that no one can take it from you. That vision becomes a magnet, a filter, a guide. When you know what you want, the universe begins to move in your favor, but if you doubt, the universe will too. This chapter is not for dreamers. It is for mental warriors, for those willing to abandon their old version, even if they don't yet know what is coming, because there is something more important than knowing what to do, and that is being ready to receive what you do not yet see. Many say, when I have money, then I will change. When the business works, I will trust myself. When everything falls into place, I will feel secure. But that is backwards. Security does not come after. It is the cause of what will come. Do you want opportunities to align? Then, cultivate an energy that does not depend on the exterior. Walk with certainty, even if you don't have a clear path. Speak with power, even if your bank account is trembling. Act as if everything were already happening, because if you don't do it, no one will do it for you. Here is the moment of truth. Are you willing to become the one who can live that fortune you dream of before it arrives? Because if you don't, when it arrives, you won't know how to sustain it. Remember this forever. Abundance is not reached. It is revealed when you expand enough to receive it. This book does not give you answers. It gives you a mirror, and each chapter asks you, are you today the person who can sustain everything you say you desire? Chapter 4. Wealth is not pursued. It is attracted by your internal mental state. You don't have to run after money. It will come walking toward you when your mind is a home for abundance. It is not money that creates the rich mind. It is the rich mind that creates money. Do you feel it? It's not about external effort but internal alignment. Once again, this book whispers a truth that many ignore. Wealth is not something you acquire. It is something that manifests from within. Observe the most prosperous people in the world. Not all were born with privileges. Not all inherited fortunes, but all, without exception, cultivated a way of thinking radically different from the average. While some think about survival, they think about creation. While some worry about the cost, they focus on the value. Wealth begins with a thought, but it must be a sustained, clear, and emotion-charged thought. And here is the fatal error of the majority. They believe they can attract wealth from doubt, from urgency, from lack. But the universe does not respond to your words. It responds to your vibration. And if you vibrate from anxiety, you will only attract more reasons to remain anxious. If you vibrate from scarcity, more scarcity will appear disguised as failed opportunities. The key is not in doing more, but in being more, in becoming the type of person who naturally attracts wealth because their frequency no longer repels it. When you obsess over money, you repel it. When you trust your internal power, you attract it. Desire must become an obsession, but not an obsession with having, but with being. This is powerful. Don't obsess over the result. Obsess over the transformation. Don't just want to fill your bank account. First, fill your mind with thoughts so elevated that money has no choice but to align with you. And now comes an uncomfortable truth. As long as you don't feel that you are already prosperous, you will continue to see scarcity even when money arrives, because it's not just about earning, it's about sustaining. And what you cannot sustain with your consciousness, you will lose with your decisions. That is why, before seeking the how, answer the who. Who do I need to be so that money pursues me? And the answer is not hardworking, disciplined, or ambitious. The true answer is congruent. Congruent with the identity of someone who knows wealth is their natural state, not a stroke of luck. Congruent with a mind that no longer needs approval or permission to feel deserving. The rich mind is not noted by what it possesses. It is noted by how it thinks when it has nothing. That is where magnetism is forged. That is where the seed of unlimited fortune is planted. So stop asking yourself when it will come. Start asking yourself, what version of me will make wealth arrive without resistance? Do an exercise. Close your eyes and visualize your most prosperous version. Observe them walking, talking, deciding, responding to challenges. Then act from there, not tomorrow, not when you have more time. Now, because money does not arrive when you are physically ready, it arrives when your mind no longer needs it to feel complete. And here, right here, appears the silent message of this book. The secret is not in what you do, it is in what you are when you do it. Chapter 5. Thoughts are invisible orders to the universe. Every thought you hold is a seed. Every emotion you feel is the water that waters it. What you harvest is exactly what you planted. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. This phrase is not poetry. It is a formula, a law, a map. And you are sitting on the most powerful gold mine in the universe, your mind. But if you don't understand how to use it, it will be like having a magic lamp without knowing you can make wishes. Think of it this way. Every thought you repeat with emotion becomes an order. A silent order, but immensely potent. An order that travels through the quantum field, seeking all possible ways to materialize in your life. The problem is we are not aware of most of our orders. We think in fear, speak in scarcity, feel insecurity, and then wonder why reality reflects all that. But it is not magic, it is mental physics. Faith is the chemical element of thought which, when mixed with emotion, forms the state of mind which the subconscious accepts as real. And what does the subconscious do? It obeys, it does not filter, it does not judge, does not argue, only executes. So if you think there is not enough, the subconscious responds, understood. I will create more evidence that there is not enough. If you think money comes easily, it answers, received. I will align the circumstances to make it real. Do you see the power you have? But here comes the most important part. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. And what you are is composed minute by what you think, believe, and feel consistently. That is why, if you want to transform your finances, transform your ideas first. Sow new beliefs, water new thoughts, nourish emotions that elevate you, not sabotage you. Do it with intention, do it like an alchemist. Every time you think I can't, replace it with what if I can. Every time you feel fear, say it out loud. I choose faith over fear. Every time you doubt, repeat, my thoughts are creating invisible opportunities right now. It is not about lying to yourself. It is about reprogramming yourself, hacking your own internal reality until the external one has no choice but to reflect it. The subconscious acts as the fertile garden where all mental impressions are sown, and what is sown is reaped. That is the law. So, stop sowing mental garbage. Stop allowing television, social media, the complaints of others to plant in you ideas you have not chosen. Take control of the most valuable terrain in your life, your consciousness. Do you want wealth? Think like someone who already has it. Do you want freedom? Feel like someone who already lives in peace with their decisions. This book does not shout, demand, or order. It only quietly reveals to you a secret that has always been in front of you. Your external world is a mirror of your internal thoughts, so don't struggle to change the reflection. Change the original image. You act, think, feel. Believe as if it were already done. because on the invisible plane it already is. Chapter 6. Wealth is not pursued, it is vibrated. Stop for a moment and listen to this phrase. Wealth is not run after, it is attracted by who you become, which means money is not the goal, you are. Success comes to those who become conscious of their right to have it and act accordingly. That phrase hidden in the pages of the enigmatic book is more than a suggestion. It is a declaration of war on your old mindset, a definitive rupture with everything you were taught about hard work as the only path. Have you ever seen someone who works like a beast day and night but never prospers? And do you know others who seem to move invisible pieces without sweating and money just comes? The difference is not in their effort. It is in their vibration, because the universe does not respond to sweat. It responds to energy. Wealth is a frequency, a wave, a rhythm, and you can only tune into it when you yourself begin to vibrate at that frequency. How? By acting as if you were already in it. It is not arrogance, it is mental training. When you behave like a successful person, even if you don't yet have the physical result, you are sending a direct message to the field of infinite possibilities. I am already in this reality. Reflect that. The subconscious does not distinguish between a real experience and an intensely imagined one. Do you grasp the power of this? It means you can use your imagination as the most potent programming channel that exists. And the more detailed, vivid, and emotional your visualization, the deeper the order you are sending. But be careful, it's not just about imagining, but about becoming that image, because you can visualize wealth for 10 minutes. But if for the rest of the day you feel insecure, guilty, or fearful, that is the dominant signal. So here is the true challenge. Feel each day as if the fortune were already yours. Speak as if you were already free. Think as if you were already prosperous, not from lack but from certainty. This reconfigures your energy field, and when that happens, reality adjusts, not because you force it but because you attract it naturally. The secret is not in doing more but in being more. Being more conscious, more intentional, more aligned. That is why the enigmatic book does not begin with magic formulas, but with the idea that everything begins with a burning desire, not lukewarm, not I wish. Burning. And that desire becomes belief, that belief becomes action, that action becomes vibration, and that vibration becomes results. This chapter does not ask you to run after money, it asks something more powerful, that you become someone impossible for abundance to ignore. Because when you change, the world responds. Because when you vibrate high, what is on that same frequency comes to you without effort, and what is not simply disappears. So don't ask anymore, how do I get money? The real question is, how do I become the person money seeks? There is the key, there is your next version, and it is ready to manifest if you are ready to feel it now. Chapter 7. Rewrite the internal script that controls your wealth. What if I told you that you are not poor because of what you do, but because of what you believe? No, I'm not talking about conscious beliefs. I'm talking about that silent script repeated over and over deep in your mind. The one that says, I don't deserve it. Money is hard, wealth corrupts. I wasn't born for that. The dominant thoughts of a person, if held with faith, sooner or later translate into facts. That clear and that dangerous if you don't take control. Because as long as that hidden script is running, no matter how many courses you take, how many hours you work, or how many businesses you try, you will always return to the same starting point. Why? Because your unconscious thoughts are the thermostat of your prosperity. You can turn on the stove of your actions, but if the thermostat is set for lack, the system will shut itself off. That is why the great secret is not to change what you do, but to change who you believe you are. That is the nucleus, the center of the labyrinth, the point where everything transforms or collapses. And how do we rewrite that script? First, stop repeating phrases you've never questioned. Every time you say, I don't have money, you are reinforcing a spell. Every time you think I can't afford it, you are affirming your limitation. But when you start saying, I am creating wealth, money finds me, I am a magnet for abundance, Something in you begins to yield, the internal defenses fall, the unconscious hears, and transformation begins. Second, act as if your new script were already real. You don't need millions to behave like a prosperous person. It is enough to take care of your language, your posture, your decisions. When you choose from security, the universe responds with security. When you decide from faith, the universe responds with paths. And third, visualize your new self until it becomes familiar. Don't just imagine having money. Imagine being the one who administers it intelligently, seeing opportunities, inspiring others, feeling deep gratitude for a life in expansion. This exercise, if repeated with constancy, programs new mental roots, and those roots eventually become your visible reality. The mind, once expanded by a powerful idea, never returns to its original state. You don't need to improve a little. You need to awaken. Awaken to who you are without the chains of the past. Awaken to a mind that does not repeat inheritances but creates legacies. When that awakening occurs, the internal script is erased, and you write a new one. One where you don't ask permission to dream. One where you don't apologize for wanting more. One where you understand that your wealth is a spiritual decision before an economic one. From that place, money is no longer your objective. It is your reflection, an inevitable consequence of your internal transformation. So do not underestimate the power of a single daily affirmation. Do not ignore the impact of a single brave decision, because every word, every choice, and every mental image you hold is an order the universe executes without judgment. You are not a victim of the economy, your past, or your mistakes. You are the writer, the director, and the lead actor of your movie, and the time has come to change the ending. Chapter 8. The Invisible Law That Makes Money Pursue You. Have you ever met someone for whom everything seems to go well? They get what they want, attract opportunities, live with ease, and most perplexing, they don't seem to try as hard as you. It's not luck, not chance, it's vibration. Desire backed by faith knows no failure. And what does this really mean? It means that when you vibrate in certainty, in purpose, in absolute confidence, money, people, ideas, and resources begin to organize around you like a giant magnet. This is not an esoteric concept. It is a law, the law of conscious attraction applied with firm intention and decisive action. But here is the nuance most people forget. You do not attract what you desire, you attract what you are. And what you are is defined by what you feel dominantly. You can repeat 1,000 times, "I am abundant." But if inside you there is fear, doubt, and guilt, that will be the real frequency you are emitting, and that will be the response you receive. So, how do you make money seek you out? First, purify your dominant emotion. Ask yourself, is my energy based on gratitude or need, on certainty or anxiety, on expansion or scarcity? Your answer is your starting point. Second, make desire an emotion, not just a thought. Desire without emotion is like a seed without water. It's not enough to want wealth. You have to feel it, you have to breathe it, walk as if it were already with you, live in harmony with it. Third, free yourself from the how. The mind wants to control the process, but true faith lets go of the how and focuses on the what and the why. You don't have to know how the opportunity will come. You have to be ready to recognize it and say yes when it appears. This is key. Wealth does not always come disguised as checks or contracts. Sometimes it comes as a conversation, a sudden idea, an unexpected encounter. And if your mind is blinded by doubt, you won't even see it. Fourth, honor what you already have. Money loves environments where it is welcome. If you despise your current situation, if you complain about the little you have, if you reject small incomes, you are telling the universe, "I am not ready for more." Gratitude is not a reaction. It is a tool of expansion. Give thanks before receiving, and you will have activated the master key. Fifth, aligned action. It is not about doing more, but about doing with intention. A single action taken with focus, certainty, and burning desire is worth more than 100 actions done out of fear or desperation. The difference is not in the quantity of movement, but in the energetic quality that sustains it. And here you understand everything. When your mind and your emotion are aligned, the external world obeys. You don't need to run after money. You need to become someone money cannot ignore. Someone who emanates inner power, who radiates clarity, who lives in active faith. And that someone can be you right now, not tomorrow, not when you have more, not when you feel ready. Now. Because every second you wait, you are training your mind to postpone your abundance. But every second you choose to act as if everything were already going well for you, as if your fortune were inevitable, you are accelerating the process. You are giving orders, and the universe listens. Do not force, do not pursue, do not beg. Simply become the inevitable cause of your wealth. Chapter 9. How to Think, Speak, and Move Like a Magnet for Fortune. What would happen if you discovered that the way you think, speak, and walk every day dictates the size of your fortune? Not what you do once, not what you imagine for 5 minutes upon waking, but what you project every second in your inner and outer language. Thoughts are things, powerful things. This is not just a philosophical concept, it is a practical principle. Napoleon Hill made it clear. Everything that exists began as an idea charged with emotion and sustained with persistence. And you, every time you think, are sowing, but do you do it automatically or consciously? That is the difference between attracting crumbs or fortune. If you think it's not easy to make money, I have no luck with business, I'm always lacking something, you are affirming. You are instructing your mind and your reality to obey you, and they will obey you. Your language creates your frequency. Your frequency creates your destiny. That is why the first step is to re-educate your words, the ones you say to yourself when no one hears you, the ones you repeat when facing a problem, the ones you let slip as a joke but hide fear. Change your vocabulary and you will change your reality. Stop saying it's difficult. Start saying, I am training my mind to make it possible. Stop saying, I don't have money. Start saying, money comes to me because I cause it to. Stop saying, I don't know how. Start saying, I am discovering the way as I move forward. It is not self-deception. It is the conscious construction of a powerful identity. Now observe your body. How do you move? Do you walk with decision or doubt? Do you sit with presence or resignation? The body also speaks, and your posture determines how you feel and how you are perceived. A millionaire in training walks as if they already had clarity. They express themselves with intention. They do not apologize for having ambition. They do not shrink from challenges. They do not drag their feet for fear of failing. Because they know this, wealth is first conquered from within. Third, analyze your small habits. The decisions you repeat without thinking, how you respond to an unforeseen event, what you do with your free time, the choices you make upon waking. All of that is educating your mind to win or to lose. And if today you act like someone who believes money is scarce, that success is for a select few, that opportunities are difficult, that will be the movie you keep projecting in your life over and over. But if you decide that from today you think like someone who knows money seeks him, you speak as if you were already living the life you desire, you move with the presence of someone aligned with their purpose, reality will have to adapt because it's not about lying to yourself. It's about creating from the vibration of what you already feel belongs to you. And when that becomes your new normal, abundance ceases to be a distant goal and becomes your automatic reflection. It is not luck. It is active mindset, precise language, aligned presence. So engrave this in your soul. Act as if everything were already going well for you, and the universe will do what is necessary not to contradict you. Chapter 10. The Hidden Force of Unshakable Faith. Have you ever felt an invisible force sustaining you when everything seems lost? That force is faith, but not passive faith, active faith, faith that becomes both engine and shield. The faith Hill describes is not simple belief. It is an implacable commitment to your vision. Faith is the foundation upon which empires are built. It is the fuel that feeds the mind until it turns desire into reality. Without faith, the most brilliant thought fades. Without faith, the most decisive action paralyzes. Without faith, success moves away. But faith is not a divine miracle that arrives by chance. Faith is cultivated, trained, nourished with every small step you take toward your goal. It strengthens every time you choose to believe in yourself, even when your surroundings shout the opposite. Think of the great examples Hill highlights. People who had every reason to give up, who faced rejection and ridicule, but who held an unshakable faith in their ability to triumph. That is what separates the winners from those who remain waiting. The difference is in active faith, the one that makes you get up every time you fall, that makes you say, "I will make it because it is my destiny." Here we are not talking about blind belief. We are talking about deep confidence born from inner knowledge and commitment to your vision. A faith not based on luck, but on the certainty of your preparation and effort. This faith must be tangible, palpable. It is not enough to say, "I have faith." You must demonstrate it with facts, with actions that reinforce your confidence every day. That is why the author insists that faith must be accompanied by autosuggestion, repeating powerful phrases that strengthen your mind, that program it for victory. I am capable. My success is inevitable. Every day I advance toward my fortune. These phrases are not simple words. They are declarations that remodel your internal reality. When the inner mind believes without hesitation, the exterior begins to yield. But faith also acts as a shield against doubt and fear. When moments of uncertainty come, when the path seems dark, faith is that beacon that keeps you steady, that pushes you forward. Imagine for a moment that you face a great obstacle. Without faith, that obstacle seems an insurmountable wall. With faith, it becomes a temporary challenge, a necessary learning, a test that makes you stronger. Faith not only transforms your thoughts, it transforms your perception of the world. And by transforming your perception, your decisions, your attitude, your level of commitment change. Now pay attention. Faith is strengthened with repetition and emotion. It is not enough to think, "I have faith." You must feel it with intensity, live it with passion, project it with conviction. That is why the author recommends surrounding yourself with images, words, sounds that nourish that faith. Visualize your success with vivid detail. Listen to speeches that inspire you. Read stories of those who overcame against all odds. All of that feeds that inner flame. Because faith is not a gift reserved for a few. It is a habit that anyone can cultivate, and the more you practice it, the more you will be surprised by the power it unleashes in you. In summary, faith is your indispensable companion on the journey toward unlimited fortune. It is the invisible bond that connects your mind with the universe. It is the promise you make to yourself not to give up. Faith turns desire into an inner mandate that cannot be ignored. And now an invitation you must accept. Strengthen your faith today. Do it with small but decisive actions, with words that propel you, with the conviction that your success is already underway. When you act with unshakable faith, you not only change your future, you change your present, and there lies the magic, because you do not wait for things to change. You become the agent of change. You do not doubt in the darkness, because the light of your faith guides you. You do not stop before fear, because your vision is bigger than any obstacle. Faith is the least understood and most powerful secret you have within reach. Master it, and unlimited fortune will not just be a dream, it will be your reality. Chapter 11. The Transformative Power of Active Imagination. Did you know the human mind has an infinite creative capacity? But not just any imagination. Active imagination, that which becomes the main tool for materializing your deepest desires. Imagination is the workshop where all plans created by man are molded. The great secret few understand is that imagination is not just an escape from reality. It is the architect of your future. It is here where your ideas begin to take shape, where a simple thought transforms into a project, into a path toward wealth. The author reveals to us that imagination is the power that gives life to faith. Without imagination, faith lacks direction. Without imagination, desire remains an empty longing. Active imagination is divided into two types: synthetic imagination and creative imagination. The first, synthetic imagination, is the ability to combine known ideas to create something new. It is the art of taking past experiences, learnings, and combining them into a new formula for your success. The second, creative imagination, is what connects with something beyond your current experience. It is what receives inspiration directly from the subconscious, the spark of intuition, that revolutionary idea no one else has had. The key is to train both so they work together and make your mind a magnet for fortune. But here it is not enough just to imagine. You must do it with detail, with emotion, with a certainty so strong that the brain does not distinguish between the imagined and the real. Visualizing with the intensity of the present creates a parallel reality that your mind strives to manifest. Have you heard that great athletes visualize their victory before competing? That is no coincidence. They practice active imagination to prepare their mind for triumph. And you can do it too, because financial and personal success is built in the mind long before it is reflected in the physical world. The author advises that each day you dedicate time to imagining your life already full, already rich, already full of achievements. That you feel in your body the emotion of having reached your goals, that you hear, see, and live your success as if it were real. This not only strengthens your faith, but it creates neural patterns in your brain that drive you to act congruently. Your decisions begin to align with that imagined reality. Your habits change to sustain that level of success. Now be careful with negative imagination, the one that anticipates failures, that feeds fears and doubts. That imagination is what sabotages your path. That is why controlling your mind is essential. Focus only on what you want to attract, on what you desire to build. The power of active imagination allows you to innovate, create solutions, and open paths where others see walls. It turns you from a spectator of life into a creator. That is why, when you begin to imagine with clarity and passion, you begin to attract the circumstances, people, and opportunities that bring you closer to your dream, because your mind does not distinguish between a dream intensely lived and reality. And here is the great challenge: to keep that active imagination alive every day, even when external circumstances seem contrary, because it is in those moments when you must visualize your success the most. Furthermore, the author says this imagination must be accompanied by concrete plans. Imagination without action is just fantasy, but imagination with action becomes reality. That is why the next step after imagining is to create a detailed plan, define clear objectives, and advance with discipline. Thus, imagination becomes an unstoppable engine of results. Imagine for a moment the life you desire. Visualize not only the material wealth but the person you become, the emotions you feel, the freedom you experience. This exercise is not a luxury, it is a necessity. To close, remember this: active imagination is your best ally for transforming desires into fortunes. By exercising it with faith and action, you are programming your mind to conquer success. Are you ready to master your imagination and build your inner empire? Because when you act with this power, nothing can stop you. Chapter 12. Faith, the invisible force that breaks barriers. Did you know that faith is the most powerful energy that can transform a desire into reality? We are not talking about blind faith or superstition, but about a deep, unshakable conviction that drives your mind and spirit toward the goal. Faith is the element that converts desire into its physical or monetary equivalent. The great mystery few comprehend is that without faith, the mind cannot set or sustain a clear objective. No matter how brilliant your idea or how big your dream, without faith that dream will never materialize. Napoleon Hill affirms that faith is the basis of all success, the invisible link between desire and action. It is the force that keeps your mind focused, that silences doubt, and that makes you persist when everything seems impossible. But faith is not something we are born with. It is something that can be cultivated. It is built with positive thoughts, constant autosuggestion, and the repetition of powerful affirmations. The author recommends that each day you speak to yourself with conviction. I can achieve it. I deserve success. I am capable of transforming my life. These words sown in your subconscious become seeds of confidence. Without faith, fear grows and failure becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. But with faith, any obstacle becomes a step forward. Faith has the power to influence your subconscious, which is the real engine of your decisions and actions. When your subconscious firmly believes in something, it works to make that reality manifest. Imagine an athlete who believes with all their soul that they will win a race. Their faith not only motivates their training but also activates internal resources that lead them to triumph. The same happens with you. Faith activates talents, ideas, and energy you may not even have known you had. It is the force that drives you to act with determination, to overcome tiredness, and to persist beyond failure. But beware, faith must not be confused with passive hope. Hope is waiting for something to happen without doing anything. True faith is an active force that moves you to act with confidence and certainty. The author explains that autosuggestion, that is, the constant repetition of positive thoughts and beliefs, is the way to nourish your faith. Every affirmation you repeat becomes embedded in your subconscious, strengthening your conviction. Do you want to transform your life? Then begin to nourish your faith each day. Repeat with conviction, I am successful, I attract abundance, I believe in my power. Remember that faith is also the shield against negativity. When you face criticism, failures, or internal doubts, faith will protect you and keep you steady. Furthermore, faith generates a special magnetism that attracts people, resources, and opportunities. It is like an invisible magnet that makes the universe conspire in your favor. The author points out that lack of faith is the root of failure in almost all cases. That is why training your faith is training your mind for success. To close this chapter, I invite you to do a powerful exercise. Every morning in front of the mirror, look yourself in the eyes and repeat with strength and emotion, I have absolute faith in myself and in my ability to create the life I desire. Do it with conviction and observe how little by little your world begins to change, because faith is that invisible force that breaks barriers and takes you directly toward your fortune. Chapter 13. Autosuggestion, the bridge between your conscious and subconscious mind. Did you know that your subconscious mind is like a garden where only the seeds you plant with your thoughts grow? Autosuggestion is the tool you have to choose which seeds to plant and how to cultivate them. Autosuggestion is the method by which thoughts repeated with emotion and conviction are imprinted on the subconscious. This process is essential because the subconscious mind does not distinguish between the real and the imagined. If you constantly tell it that you are capable, strong, and successful, it will begin to act in accordance with those beliefs. Napoleon Hill reveals that autosuggestion is the key technique for feeding faith and desire. If faith is the force, autosuggestion is the fuel that keeps it burning. Think about this. Your conscious mind is the one that decides what you want, but your subconscious is what makes it happen. When you repeat powerful affirmations, your thoughts filter through and become instructions for your subconscious. But it's not just about repeating empty words. Autosuggestion must be accompanied by intense emotion, by visualizing with vivid detail what you wish to achieve. Hill explains that repetition is the key. The more you repeat a thought or affirmation, the deeper its impression becomes in your subconscious mind. It is like programming a computer. The more you insist, the faster and better the order is executed. And a well-programmed subconscious mind acts in synchrony with your objective. A practical example: if you want to increase your confidence, repeat daily phrases like, I am confident in myself, I act with courage, and I attract opportunities. Do it with strength, with emotion, even if at first you don't feel it is true. That constant practice, day after day, will make your subconscious accept it as an unshakable truth, and that truth will manifest in your thoughts, actions, and daily decisions. But be careful, because you can also auto-suggest yourself with negative thoughts without realizing it. Doubts, fears, and limiting beliefs are also auto-suggestions that have been recorded in your subconscious mind. That is why it is crucial that you control which thoughts you allow to be fed. Conscious auto-suggestion is an act of power and responsibility. Hill insists that one of the great secrets to achieving success is mastering this technique. Those who apply it with discipline and clarity unlock an inexhaustible source of inner strength. Furthermore, autosuggestion creates a direct connection with your imagination, which is the fertile ground where ideas are cultivated. When you visualize your success while repeating your affirmations, the subconscious mind cannot distinguish that image from reality and begins to work to make it tangible. This generates a powerful change in your behavior. You begin to act with more security, make better decisions, and attract the necessary circumstances. For autosuggestion to work, Hill recommends establishing a daily ritual. Choose a quiet moment, write your affirmations in the present and positive, and repeat them with conviction. Do it in front of a mirror if possible to reinforce the connection between mind and body. An exercise that transforms lives is writing 3 clear goals each morning and each night, accompanied by phrases that reinforce your faith in them. This habit makes your goals become an inseparable part of your mind. Remember that the power of autosuggestion is not magic, it is mental science. It is the art of mastering your internal dialogue to become the architect of your destiny. Are you ready to become aware of the messages you give yourself and begin to program your mind for success? Autosuggestion is the bridge that connects desire with reality, the conscious mind with the hidden power of your subconscious. Master it, and nothing can stop you. Chapter 14. The Power of Imagination, the workshop where wealth is born. Have you ever thought that your imagination is the invisible workshop where all your dreams and all your fortune are built? Many believe imagination is only for artists or dreamers, but in reality, it is the fundamental tool for anyone seeking success and wealth. Imagination is the workshop where all plans created by man are formed. This invisible workshop is where you transform your desires into clear, precise, and vivid mental images that your subconscious mind then turns into reality. Napoleon Hill affirms that imagination has 2 powerful forms: synthetic imagination and creative imagination. Synthetic imagination is the ability to reorganize existing ideas and concepts to create new combinations. For example, when an entrepreneur combines different products or services to create something new. On the other hand, creative imagination is the faculty that connects us with intuition and inspiration, allowing us to receive ideas and solutions we didn't know existed. This form of imagination is the channel for revolutionary ideas and quantum leaps in life and business. However, both require practice and discipline to be used effectively. It is not enough to dream or fantasize. Imagination must be guided with clear intention and definite purpose. Hill explains that people who have achieved wealth have learned to use their imagination as a mental laboratory where they test their ideas before taking them to the physical world. This avoids costly mistakes and prepares the path for success more quickly. A clear example is the inventor who first visualizes their creation in detail in the mind, from each component to how it will function in reality. This intense mental visualization is the key to designing successful products and profitable businesses. But imagination does not only serve to create objects or businesses, it also shapes your attitude, your confidence, and your perception of success. When you imagine yourself acting with security, achieving your goals, and living the life you desire, your subconscious mind begins to believe in that possible reality, and that belief is the engine that drives your daily actions. Hill warns that many people limit their imagination with fears, doubts, or negative beliefs. This blocks the natural flow of creativity and stops new opportunities from arriving. To break those chains, you must cultivate a positive and receptive mental environment. Surround yourself with ideas, people, and readings that feed your creative capacity. Make imagination a daily exercise, not just a passing whim. A powerful exercise he recommends is daily visualization, where you imagine in luxurious detail the success you desire. Visualize not only the final result, but also the steps, emotions, and sensations involved. When you do this regularly, your mind begins to work tirelessly to materialize those images. Imagination becomes the compass that guides each of your movements toward wealth. Do not underestimate the power of a mind dedicated to imagining solutions, paths, and positive results. Every great invention, business, or human achievement began as a spark of imagination in someone's mind. Furthermore, using imagination correctly allows you to anticipate obstacles and prepare intelligent responses. It is a form of mental training that always keeps you one step ahead. If you want money and success to seek you, you must first build in your mind a fertile workshop where your dreams take shape with clarity. This workshop is imagination, and it is free, unlimited, and always accessible. So the next time you think imagination is just an escape, remember it is the force that moves the universe toward the creation of your fortune. Chapter 15. Unshakable Faith, Your Hidden Engine Toward Wealth. What happens when you believe so firmly in something that no doubt can penetrate your mind? That is unshakable faith, and it is the invisible engine that turns your desires into palpable realities. Faith is a state of mind that may be induced by autosuggestion. This phrase reveals a secret few understand. Faith is not just a mystical or religious feeling. It is a force that is cultivated and strengthened through the conscious control of your thoughts. Napoleon Hill notes that faith is the foundation upon which all great fortunes and successes are built. Without faith, desire weakens and the mind yields to doubts, fear, and procrastination. But how do you cultivate that unshakable faith? Hill reveals that autosuggestion is the key tool. By repeating clear, positive, and powerful affirmations to yourself, your subconscious mind begins to accept those ideas as absolute truths. For example, phrases like, "I fully trust in my ability to achieve wealth. Every day I attract opportunities that bring me closer to my success." When these affirmations are internalized, they begin to mold your internal and external reality. But true faith is not just repeating words. It is feeling those words with deep conviction. It is an inner certainty that acts as a magnet for circumstances and people that drive your success. Hill warns that faith can easily be destroyed by doubts or negative thoughts. That is why maintaining a disciplined and focused mind is fundamental. A crucial step is to identify and eliminate those internal doubts that hinder your progress. Ask yourself, what fears or limiting beliefs are blocking my faith? Recognizing those mental barriers is the first step to destroying them. Then, replace them with thoughts and beliefs that reinforce your confidence and determination. Hill also notes that faith has a multiplying power when combined with action. It is not enough to believe and wait passively. You must act with decision, knowing that each step is guided by that unshakable faith. Every action, however small, that aligns with your vision, strengthens your belief that success is inevitable, and that conviction protects you against frustration and defeat. Furthermore, faith creates a mental resistance that keeps you steady when you face obstacles. While others give up at the first difficulty, the one who has faith moves forward with more strength. Hill recalls that the most successful people in history had faith in their visions when no one else believed in them. That faith differentiated them and led them to triumph against all odds. Finally, faith also attracts external support. When you act with faith, your energy becomes contagious and other people feel inspired to help you. Remember, faith is your hidden engine, your invisible fuel. Without it, any plan, however brilliant, lacks the necessary energy to become reality. Today you have the opportunity to decide to strengthen that faith. Make autosuggestion a daily habit and observe how your mind and your life begin to transform. Act with faith, and you will see how the universe conspires for your desires to manifest. Because when you have unshakable faith, success is not a matter of luck, but of certainty. Chapter 16. The Power of Imagination. Visualize and materialize your fortune. Did you know that everything that exists was first an image in someone's mind? Before a great fortune, an invention, or a revolution happens, they are first conceived in the imagination. Imagination is the factory of the mind. There all plans created by man are molded. This phrase takes us to the core of a power as potent as it is invisible, imagination. But not any type of imagination, directed and constant imagination that acts as a magnet for wealth. Napoleon Hill explains that imagination is the tool that transforms abstract desire into concrete plans and tangible results. Without imagination, a dream is just that, an empty dream with no possibility of materializing. But when you use imagination to create vivid and detailed images of what you desire, you are sending clear signals to your subconscious mind, which begins to work to make those images reality. Think about this. What would your life be like if you allowed yourself to visualize your success with such clarity that you felt it was real? Every detail, every sensation, every emotion of that achievement in your mind is a step toward its manifestation. Hill divides imagination into two types. Synthetic imagination, the ability to reorganize old ideas, concepts, or plans into new combinations. Creative imagination, the power to receive new ideas, intuitions, or inspirations directly from the subconscious. Both types are fundamental for creating wealth, but creativity is the spark that ignites innovation and unique solutions. To activate your imagination productively, you must train it. Dedicate time daily to visualize your success in luxurious detail. Where are you? What are you doing? How do you feel? This practice must go beyond just daydreaming. It must be an emotional and mental experience so powerful that your mind takes it as an inevitable reality. Hill also warns that imagination must always be aligned with a definite purpose and a clear plan. Visualizing without action is just fantasy, but visualizing with a plan and with faith is creating a secure path toward wealth. Imagine that every creative thought you have is a seed. Imagination is the fertile soil where these seeds germinate, grow, and become robust trees that bear fruits of success. But attention, imagination can also be your worst enemy if you feed it negative thoughts, fears, or doubts. Mental images of failure or lack will attract precisely that into your life. That is why Hill insists that you must master your mind by consciously choosing which images to feed and which to discard. Mental discipline and constant vigilance are indispensable. Furthermore, imagination can open doors that logic and reason never could. It is the playing field of innovation, of original creation, of thinking outside the box. Great inventors, entrepreneurs, and leaders of success understood and used this power. They dared to imagine a better future, to visualize their success, even when reality seemed contrary. Finally, remember that imagination must be at the service of your desire and your faith. When you imagine with faith, the combined force of both is irresistible. Activate your imagination today with a simple exercise. Close your eyes and create the clearest and most detailed mental image of the fortune you desire. Feel the emotion as if it were already yours. Repeat this visualization each day. Make imagination your most powerful ally, and you will see how the path toward wealth opens before you, full of opportunities and creativity. Because the reality you live today is the creation that began first in your mind. Chapter 17. Faith, the invisible engine that transforms dreams into reality. What separates those who obtain wealth from those who only desire it? It is not just knowledge, intelligence, or even effort. The fundamental difference is faith, an unshakable confidence that what you desire is already possible and on its way. Faith is the mastermind of success. This phrase is not a simple metaphor. Faith, as the great author describes it, is a tangible mental force that acts directly on the subconscious mind and the external world. It is the bridge between desire and reality. Without faith, desire fades into doubts, fears, and procrastination. But with faith, desire becomes a magnet that attracts circumstances, people, and resources to materialize what you long for. Hill affirms that faith is not a fleeting feeling or an act of simple hope. It is a state of mind that must be cultivated with discipline, repetition, and conviction. How is that faith cultivated? The great author points out that the constant repetition of positive affirmations is key. When you repeat with conviction phrases that reflect your objective, you are implanting that faith in your subconscious mind. For example, saying with total certainty, "I am rich and successful," or "money flows to me in abundance," are not just words. They are commands that your inner mind begins to accept as absolute truths. But beyond words, faith needs to be nourished with actions. It is not enough to believe. You must act as if you were already the success you wish to achieve. This creates a powerful feedback loop. Your acts strengthen your faith, and that faith drives new acts in an unstoppable cycle. The great author also warns about the invisible enemies of faith: doubt, fear, the negative influence of the environment. Every time you doubt, your faith weakens, and with it, your capacity to attract wealth. That is why maintaining a disciplined mind and a positive environment is vital to preserving that iron faith. Surround yourself with people who believe in you and your dreams. Avoid criticism and pessimism. Furthermore, faith acts as a filter that directs your mental energy toward opportunities and solutions. When you have faith, your subconscious mind works tirelessly to find paths that before seemed impossible. Hill mentions that faith has a magnetic power that not only affects your mind but also the people and circumstances around you. An individual with faith projects confidence and security, and this attracts collaboration and good fortune. Imagine yourself walking with the certainty that success is inevitable. How your attitude changes, how others see you. That is the force of faith. It transforms reality because it transforms the being who acts within it. The great author goes further and says that faith is also the fuel of perseverance. When obstacles appear, and they will appear, it is faith that keeps you steady, that makes you get up again and again. Without faith, failure is definitive. With faith, every stumble is just a lesson, another step toward the summit. Finally, Hill leaves us with a powerful message. Faith is not an exclusive gift for a few. It is a skill anyone can develop with practice and determination. Today, make a commitment to yourself. Nourish your faith with affirmations, actions, and a positive environment. Sow it with every thought, every step, because when your faith is strong, the universe conspires so that nothing can stop you. Remember always, faith is the invisible engine that transforms your dreams into a palpable reality. Chapter 18. Persistence, the key to breaking all barriers. Have you ever felt you are about to give up just before achieving something great? That invisible line that separates failure from success is called persistence. It is the power that forces you to move forward when everything seems against you, when the path is full of obstacles and the mind wants to surrender. The great author reminds us that persistence is not an innate quality, but a habit that can be developed and strengthened with intention and practice. Lack of persistence is one of the major causes of failure. This affirmation is not only forceful, it is a warning that resonates through the pages of the great book. Persistence is the fuel that feeds the machine of success. Without it, most people abandon just before reaching what they desired. Only those who persevere and continue when others stop are the ones who finally achieve victory. Persistence, according to the great author, is intimately linked to faith. Faith without persistence is just a passing dream. Persistence without faith is an empty struggle. Together they form an unstoppable force. But how do you cultivate that persistence? Hill points out that it must begin with a definite purpose and a burning desire that is stronger than any excuse or difficulty. When you have clarity about what you want and a deep longing, persistence becomes your natural ally. Another vital tool for maintaining persistence is mental control. You must be conscious of every thought, eliminating doubts, fears, and negative thoughts that drain your energy. Replace those thoughts with clear images and affirmations that reinforce your purpose each day. Repeat to yourself that no matter how difficult it seems, you are going to continue until you achieve it. The great author also highlights that persistence requires a solid plan of action. It is not just insisting without direction, but advancing with intelligence, adjusting your strategy when necessary. Every small step brings you closer to your objective, and every advance strengthens your confidence to continue. However, the true test of persistence comes when you face rejection, criticism, or temporary failures. It is in those moments when you must remember that every giant of success faced similar storms. The secret is to transform those blows into learning and motivation. Don't stop, adapt, learn, and continue. Persistence also has a magnetic effect. When you project the energy of someone who never gives up, you attract people and opportunities that support you. The environment aligns with your inner strength, and doors begin to open where before they were closed. For persistence to be a real force in your life, you must create habits that reinforce it. Wake up early to make the most of the day. Establish daily goals that bring you closer to your dream. Surround yourself with positive influences that inspire you to continue. Keep a journal where you record your advances and learnings. Each of these actions builds the mindset of an unstoppable persistent. Finally, the great author concludes that persistence is the quality that separates the rich from the poor, the successful from the frustrated. If you act with persistence, nothing and no one will be able to stop your advance. Are you ready to adopt persistence as your lifestyle? Remember, the key to breaking all barriers is in your will to never stop. Chapter 19. The power of teamwork multiplies your success. Did you know that no one reaches the peak of success completely alone? Behind every extraordinary triumph there is an invisible network of collaboration, support, and synergy. The great author reminds us that the strength of the individual is limited, but when united with others it becomes unstoppable. Teamwork is the key that opens the doors to greater opportunities. This concept goes beyond simply cooperating. It is the ability to combine talents, ideas, and energies to create a result that no individual could achieve alone. In the minds of those who triumph, teamwork is not an option, but an essential strategy to accelerate success. The great book teaches us that one of the fundamental pillars for harnessing the power of the team is mutual trust. Without trust, alliances become fragile and efforts dilute. Trust means that each member believes in the commitment and capacity of the other to fulfill their part. It is the foundation upon which strong and lasting relationships are built that drive progress. Furthermore, teamwork fosters diversity of ideas and perspectives. Each person contributes a unique point of view that can discover creative solutions and new opportunities. When you learn to value and combine those differences, you multiply your potential for success. The great author points out that to form a powerful team, you must first define a clear common purpose. That objective must be so convincing and passionate that all members feel they are part of something bigger than themselves. This sense of purpose generates collective motivation and unshakable commitment. Another vital point is effective communication. The best teams are characterized by open, sincere, and constant communication. When ideas flow freely and conflicts are resolved with respect, the group can advance without breaks. The great book also highlights the importance of reciprocity in the team. It is not just about receiving help, but also about giving without expecting anything immediate in return. That energy of giving strengthens bonds and creates an environment where everyone feels valued. Furthermore, teamwork allows sharing the emotional burden and responsibilities. In difficult moments, having a solid group by your side is the difference between giving up or persevering. Collective strength becomes a protective shield against adversity. But the power of the team is not only in the present, it is also a springboard for the future. By connecting with others, you build a network of contacts and resources that will accompany you throughout your life. This social capital is one of the most valuable assets for anyone seeking to create lasting wealth and success. Lastly, the great author invites us to surround ourselves with people who raise our level. A powerful team is formed by individuals who not only share an objective, but also contribute values, ethics, and motivation. With whom are you choosing to walk toward your success? Are you forming alliances that propel you or relationships that hold you back? When you understand that teamwork multiplies your power, you change the way you see your challenges and opportunities. You stop trying to do everything alone and begin to build a legacy that transcends. Chapter 20. Persistence, the Secret of the Invincible. What differentiates those who triumph from those who abandon? The answer lies in a powerful word: persistence. The great author tells us that persistence is the invisible engine that drives those who never give up. Persistence is the key that opens the door when everything seems closed. No matter how many times you fail or how many obstacles you find, true strength lies in getting up one more time than the times you fell. The book reveals to us that most people desist just before success. They surrender their efforts when they are about to reach the goal. This is not coincidence, but the consequence of not understanding the power of persistence. The great author affirms that persistence is a habit, not a talent. It is cultivated with decision, constancy, and a mind focused on the objective. Every failure must be seen as a teacher, a lesson that brings you closer to your triumph. To develop persistence, the book proposes building a defined, clear, and flexible plan, a plan that allows you to adapt without losing sight of your final objective. Furthermore, persistence is strengthened when you have a powerful why, a reason that transcends difficulties. That why is the light that guides your steps in the darkness. Another key teaching is the importance of surrounding yourself with positive influences. Persistence is fed by the environment and is weakened by negativity. Seek people who inspire you, who push you to continue when you feel like giving up. The great book also explains that persistence is not a solitary path. The support of a mentor, a group, or a team can be decisive for sustaining it. Furthermore, by persisting, you develop an iron mentality that makes you invincible in the face of fear and doubt. This mental power is what transforms impossible dreams into tangible realities. That is why persistence is the quality that distinguishes true leaders and creators of wealth. It is the guarded secret that only those who decide not to give up discover. Are you ready to activate that force? Are you willing to continue forward even if the path is hard and full of uncertainty? When you act with persistence, every step becomes a brick that builds your empire. It doesn't matter the size of the obstacle, but the force with which you face it. Remember always, success is not a matter of luck, but of never stopping trying. And you, how much are you willing to persist? Chapter 21. The Mastery of Decision, the Power to Choose and Act. Did you know that success begins in an instant? That instant is when you make a clear and firm decision. The difference between success and defeat lies in your capacity to decide without hesitation. The great author tells us, lack of decision is a major cause of failure. Those who hesitate, wait, and postpone become trapped in mediocrity, while those who decide with conviction open the door to a world of opportunities. To decide is an act of power. It is taking the reins of your destiny and abandoning the comfortable posture of indecision. The book highlights that successful people make decisions quickly and change them slowly, if they change them at all. This does not mean rigidity, but commitment and focus. Every decision is a seed planted in the garden of your future. If you want to harvest greatness, you must sow firm and conscious decisions. Furthermore, deciding with mastery implies accepting responsibility for the consequences. Do not blame fate or circumstances. Take control of your life. The great author warns that doubt and fear are enemies that paralyze action. Breaking with them requires courage and a solution-oriented mentality. That is why the book recommends cultivating internal confidence through constant knowledge and preparation. When you know what you are doing, the decision flows naturally and without hesitation. It also notes that indecision generates mental and emotional, where that pulls energy away from success. On the other hand, a quick and decided decision generates unstoppable momentum. To develop mastery in decision, it is fundamental to define your goals clearly. A clear objective gives you the compass to choose the correct path. But it is not enough to decide. You must also act. Decision without action is just a lifeless thought. The great book emphasizes that real power lies in the balance between deciding and executing. Both steps are inseparable in the formula for triumph. Furthermore, by acting with decision, you create a reputation for reliability and determination that attracts allies, resources, and opportunities. The world responds to those who demonstrate firmness and purpose. Are you ready to become a master of decision? To take the reins of your life and act without fear? Remember that every success began with a single decision, the one that changed everything. Today that moment is yours. Chapter 22. The Invisible Force of Persistence, the Secret That Never Fails. Have you ever felt that success is just a step away, but something stops you? That something is often the lack of persistence. The great author powerfully affirms, persistence is the power that converts the impossible into possible. It doesn't matter how many times you fall, but how many times you get up. Persistence is the invisible force that transforms dreams into reality. When you begin to act, the path is not always clear or easy. There will be obstacles, rejections, and moments of doubt, but it is in those moments where persistence becomes the decisive factor. The book reveals to us that almost all recognized successes have behind them a history of failures and falls, but what distinguishes them is that they never abandoned. That is the difference between those who triumph and those who give up. Persistence is a muscle that is trained each day. The more you face adversity without giving up, the stronger it becomes, and with renewed strength you advance with more security toward your goals. But the key is not just to insist without direction, but to do so with intelligence and strategy. To persist is not to repeat the same thing expecting a different result. It is to learn, adjust, and continue forward with renewed conviction. The great author explains that persistence is the bridge between intention and realization. Without it, the best ideas and plans remain on paper. With it, even the most ambitious dream can become reality. Furthermore, persistence nourishes internal confidence. Every small victory you achieve by not giving up strengthens your self-esteem and pushes you to continue. But beware, the lack of persistence often arises from fear of failure or exhaustion. That is why it is fundamental to take care of your mental and emotional energy to remain firm. The book suggests surrounding yourself with people who support and inspire you, because the right company can be the spark that ignites your inner fire. Persistence also demands passion. When you love what you do, tiredness is temporary and motivation always returns. Did you know that most successful people have faced more rejections and difficulties than you imagine? But what defines them is that they persisted when others abandoned. Today the great message is clear. Do not abandon. Do not take a step back. Your greatest triumph is just after that test that seems so difficult. In every challenge, there is a hidden lesson that strengthens your character. In every fall, an opportunity to get up stronger. Persistence is your best ally for opening doors that seemed closed. It is the promise that if you continue, success will arrive. So the question is, are you willing to persist when everything seems to be against you? If your answer is yes, prepare to see how the impossible begins to change. This invisible power is within you. You just have to activate it and never let it go. Chapter 23. Mental Alchemy: How to Convert Your Thoughts into Gold. Imagine for a moment that your mind is a secret laboratory, a place where thoughts are not just fleeting ideas, but the true material with which your destiny is forged. The great author tells us, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. This is the magic formula that converts simple thoughts into real fortunes. But what does this phrase really mean? It is not just about thinking of money or success, but about creating a mental state where success is inevitable. Here, mental alchemy comes into play, the art of transforming the energy of your thoughts into tangible results. There are no limits to what you can create when you master this process. Every thought you harbor has a vibration, an energy that attracts circumstances, people, and opportunities. If your thoughts are charged with doubts and fears, you will attract more of that. But if you imbue them with certainty, confidence, and clear vision, the universe begins to conspire in your favor. The great author explains that this alchemy requires focus and discipline. It is not enough to have scattered positive thoughts. They must be intentional and constant. The mind is like a powerful magnet. It attracts that upon which it puts its most intense attention. That is why one of the most powerful tools for this transformation is visualization. Seeing success mentally, feeling it, living it in your mind before it occurs. It is like setting the mold where your fortune will be formed. This process is not fantasy or an escape from reality. It is mental preparation for effective action, the programming of your brain to find solutions and create paths. Furthermore, mental alchemy is nourished by affirmations, which are powerful phrases that reprogram your subconscious. When you repeat them with conviction, they replace limiting beliefs with others that propel you toward success. But be careful, the mind can also be a battlefield, and if you do not control your thoughts, they can sabotage you without you realizing it. The great author alerts about the importance of constantly watching your thoughts. Do not allow doubts, "I can'ts," or fears to take control. Instead, cultivate thoughts that nourish your faith in yourself and your mission, because faith is the fuel that activates this alchemy and transforms the intangible into tangible. Furthermore, the mind needs to be trained to resist distractions and external negative messages. The environment can be an enemy or an ally depending on how you use it. Mental alchemy also implies action. Thoughts are the beginning, but they must be accompanied by a plan and concrete steps. Think of a jeweler. They do not just imagine the jewel, they also work with their hands to give it shape. Thus, your golden thoughts need action to manifest into real gold. The difference is that now you know that your thoughts are the first precious metal. Finally, this mental alchemy is a continuous process. It is not a magic trick used only once. It is a daily habit that molds your reality and multiplies your internal and external wealth. The great author concludes, "Control your mind, master your thoughts, and you will be the true alchemist of your destiny." So today, I invite you to begin this mental transformation. Make your thoughts the gold that will build your unlimited fortune. Chapter 24. The Power of Purpose, the Energy that Moves Mountains. Have you ever felt a force so powerful that it pushes you to continue forward, even when everything seems impossible? That force is called purpose, and it is the invisible engine that converts dreams into palpable realities. The great author says, "A definite objective is the master key that opens all doors to success." Without a clear purpose, the mind scatters, motivation falters, and opportunities seem to evade us. But when you discover a purpose that ignites you, that makes your heart beat with intensity, something changes forever. This purpose is not just a superficial desire. It is a deep conviction that acts as a magnet to attract resources, ideas, and people. Purpose is an energy that not only moves mountains but transforms obstacles into steps toward the summit. No matter how hard the struggle, when you are aligned with a powerful purpose, nothing can stop you. Furthermore, having a definite purpose focuses your mind on what truly matters. In a world full of distractions, this clarity is the shield that protects your attention and your efforts. The great author also warns us that a purpose without action is just an illusion. It is necessary to convert that impulse into a concrete plan with specific goals and measurable steps. The force of purpose acts as a beacon in the darkness, guiding you when paths seem uncertain or difficult. When you remain firm in your purpose, fear loses power, and perseverance becomes your best ally. But how do you find that purpose that transforms your life? Start by asking yourself deep questions. What do you truly want? What are you passionate about? What legacy do you wish to leave? Answering these questions with honesty is the first step to discovering your unique mission in this world. When your purpose is born from the soul, the energy that accompanies it is unstoppable. And here is the final key. Purpose is strengthened with faith and visualization. Imagine your life reaching that objective in all its details. Feel the emotion, the satisfaction, and the joy. This daily practice of connecting with your purpose awakens an energy that transforms your mind and your environment. Begin to act as if that purpose were already fulfilled, and the universe will begin to conspire in your favor. The great author reminds us that the great victors are not those who avoid failure, but those who never lose sight of their purpose. They know that every fall is just another step toward victory. That is why today I invite you to define with clarity your deepest purpose. Write your objective, visualize it each day, feel that energy, and act with determination. Thus, success will cease to be a distant goal and become your constant reality. Because when you have a clear purpose, you not only make success seek you, you attract it with an irresistible force. Chapter 25. Decisive Action, the Final Step Toward Wealth. Did you know that knowledge without action is just a dream? This is a truth so powerful it can transform your life in an instant. The great author affirms, knowledge becomes power only when put into practice. It doesn't matter how many brilliant ideas you have, how many plans you elaborate, or how many books you read. Without action, all of that remains empty words. This chapter is the call to take the definitive leap, to move body and mind toward what you desire with firmness and without hesitation. Because decisive action is the bridge that connects your dreams with your reality. Think of a seed. No matter how fertile the land and abundant the water, if it is not planted, it will not grow nor bear fruit. The same happens with your ideas. Only when you decide to act does that seed become a tree that gives shade and fruit. The great author underlines that most people fail not because they lack potential, but because they become paralyzed before fear or doubt. Decisive action requires courage, but it is the only path toward real transformation. Furthermore, action generates confidence. The more you do, the more you learn, the closer you get to your objective, and your confidence grows exponentially. Inaction, on the other hand, feeds fear and insecurity. Here is a secret few know. Action does not always have to be perfect or monumental. What is important is to begin, even if with small, constant steps. Every step you take creates an energy of movement that attracts more opportunities and clarity. The universe rewards initiative because it recognizes determination and commitment. The great author also teaches us that perseverance is the twin sister of action. It is not enough to act once. You must maintain the rhythm, persist, and adjust the course when necessary. But how do you ensure your action is decisive and effective? First, define a clear plan with specific goals and deadlines. Second, eliminate distractions that steal your time and energy. And third, maintain a constant learning mentality. When you combine these elements, your action becomes an unstoppable engine that breaks down any barrier. Furthermore, remember that action not only impacts the material plane, but also your mental and emotional state. Acting generates a sensation of personal power, reduces anxiety, and strengthens your self-image as a capable and successful person. The great author says, action is the tangible expression of faith. Believing in yourself and your purpose is essential, but faith without action is an illusion. That is why today is the day to leave procrastination behind and take that step you have been postponing. Do not wait for conditions to be perfect. Begin now with what you have and where you are. Remember, every action you take is a declaration that you are ready to receive the unlimited fortune you deserve. To close, I invite you to reflect. What decisive action can you take today to bring yourself closer to your dream? Do it and observe how your life begins to change in a deep and accelerated way. Because when you act with decision, success is not only possible, it is inevitable. If one thing became clear throughout this journey, it is that success does not arrive by coincidence or luck. Success is the result of a prepared mind, unshakable faith, and above all, decisive action. This book did not appear on your path by accident. You found it because your mind is ready, because you are ready to create unlimited fortune. Always remember this powerful truth. The universe responds to those who act. Do not seek outside, do not wait any longer. Within you, you have everything necessary to transform your reality. From today, act as if everything always went well for you, because that attitude not only changes your inner world but attracts the circumstances and people who will propel you toward your goal. Do not allow doubt, fear, or inertia to stop you. Every minute that passes is an opportunity to build the future you deserve. Subscribe if you haven't already, share this message with those you know need to hear it, and comment below. I am ready to act and receive my unlimited fortune, because by doing so, you will be taking the most important step, committing to yourself and your success. This is your moment. The moment you decide to stop waiting and begin to create. The moment you stop seeking money and make it seek you. Act now. Your life will never be the same.